And now we are entering the new millennium of pay-per-views and wrestling. Let's start out with WrestleMania 2000. And on a side note, the video game is awesome. One of my favorite wrestling video games of all time. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about the actual WrestleMania 2000, WrestleMania 16, whatever the hell you want to call it. So WrestleMania 2000, for the most part, I thought was very entertaining. For its time, it was pretty good. I mean, it was what it was. This was when Triple H was at his best, and probably one of the WWE's most entertaining superstars, period, back in the day. Some say it's a little overbooked, and they're right a little bit, but I still thought it provided an entertaining effect to it. The crowd was pretty loud and very vocal throughout the night, and it was a great way to kick off the new millennium. Speaking of kicking off, let's get right down to the matches. Here we go. The first match was Bull Buchanan and the Big Boss Man against the Godfather and D'Lo Brown. And before the match, we got Ice-T, the great rapper Ice-T, rapping D'Lo Brown and the Godfather with their hose down to the ring. Pippin' ain't easy, man. Grab your bitches! Yeah, that's pretty much the highlight of this match. Yeah, that's pretty much the highlight of this match. This match was very unexciting, to say the very least, and it was pretty slow when you look at it. Both teams seemed a little discombobulated, and in the end, it never really worked. These two teams never really had that chemistry. Big Boss Man and Bull Buchanan get the win when Bull Buchanan does his sick leg drop from the top rope. All right, now we get to the clusterfuck of the night, the Hardcore Battle Royal, which featured Taz, Viscera, Crash Holly, Hardcore Holly, Funaki, Taka Michinoku, the Thrashers, Mosh, the Headbangers, Mosh and Thrasher, and the Mean Street Posse, which was Pete, Gas, Joey, Abs, and Rodney. And I think I'm missing a few. If I am, I don't care. This match was a clusterfuck. But it was amusing nonetheless. Some pretty brutal spots and entertaining antics make it better than it should have been. A lot of weapons used. Stop sign. Oh, the acolytes were also in there. Farouk and Bradshaw. Yeah, a lot of weapons used here. The ending was just an absolute mess. I mean, you don't know who won. He hit Taz over the Crash Holly over the head with a jar of candy. He pinned his cousin Crash Holly, and you don't know who got the win. Did he get the shoulder up? Did Crash retain the title? But in the end, Hardcore wins in controversial fashion, which is kind of strange to say the very least. All right, now we got TNA, Test and Albert, with Trish Stratus making her WrestleMania debut, looking fine as hell. And they are taking on the team of Head Cheese with Chester McCheeserton. Let's go, Head Cheese! With Al Snow and Steve Blackman. That was pretty much the whole highlight of this match. Probably it was pretty. It was pointless filler, but hey, that's okay. But nothing noteworthy except for Chester McCheeserton. It's a shame that TNA never really took off because they had so much potential to be something great. I mean, Test and Albert were a pretty good tag team, and they had a lot of chemistry with each other. But TNA prevailed. Poor Head Cheese gets the brutal, backbreaker leg drop combo at the end of the match, and that was pretty interesting. And it sucks for Chester McCheeserton. Now we get the triangle ladder match between Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys, Jeff and Matt, and the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Devon. As JR would say, this is a slobber knocker. This is the original, it's the innovator, and probably the best triple threat tag match of all time. At the time, the bumps like this in the WWE were unheard of, and there are too many incredible bumps to mention. But the finest one, and the one that's most remembered, has to be Jeff doing the Swanton bomb off the ladder onto Bubba Ray Dudley through a table. The crowd was very into this. I was very into this. A lot of people were into this. A lot of you were too. And this is some of the most exciting stuff you will ever see. However, I'm kind of disappointed that the Hardys and the that the Dudley Boys didn't retain their titles, because Edge and Christian always seem to win their respective ladder matches, because they are the kings of ladder matches. But Edge and Christian win to much of the crowd's delight. Yeah, just sucks the Dudley Boys did not get that big WrestleMania victory. Now we got the cat fight. Ugh. Terry Runnels with the Fabulous Moolah against the Cat, Stacy Carter, and Mae Young, with Val Venus as the special guest referee. This match sucked. This match was very bad. This is the only singles match on this pay-per-view. I've never really liked the Cat. When she was with Chyna, she was I was never a big fan of the Cat. And Terry has a certain spunk to her, but it's just bad. This match is just bad. Yeah, this is pretty much the Jerry Lawler moment of the show. Jerry Lawler LOL moment of the show, because he screamed puppies all the way throughout. But Terry wins, and nothing too special. Now we get a 6-person intergender tag team match featuring Too Cool and Chyna against the Radicals, Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko, and Eddie Guerrero. Decent pop for Chyna and Too Cool. This match was highly entertaining, with a lot of mind games from Eddie and Chyna, who were just on the brink of having that relationship storyline, which was great. It was goofy, but that's what I liked about it, because I'm a little quirky like that. It's good, clean fun, but it's good, clean fun. Chyna and Too Cool get the win. All right, now we get to the most interesting match of the show, a two-fall triple threat match. First fall was for the Intercontinental title, and the second fall was for the European title, featuring Kurt Angle defending both of his championships against Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit. Let's start with the Intercontinental title match. Angle actually gets the face pop, and Jericho gets a standing ovation pretty much, because that crowd absolutely loved Jericho. And Benoit pretty much got up. It's not as good as it should have been, I will say, the first fall. But it took a while to get moving and became really spotty. But with these three, you're bound to get something. You're bound to get some great stuff, because they are Benoit and Jericho are two world-class wrestlers, and Angle, being the only Olympic gold medalist in WWF history at the time, you knew it was going to be something amazing. But so for the first match, Chris Benoit wins the Intercontinental title, and the second match I thought was much better here. Some incredible maneuvers and frantic action makes this a lot more entertaining than the Intercontinental title match, in my opinion. If only they continued to get going, this would have been a classic. In my opinion, I still think it is a classic. Very underrated WrestleMania match, I think. But either way, Jericho wins the European title, and Kurt Angle wasn't even pinned for any of the falls, so he lost both titles, and he wasn't even pinned. So, yeah, there you go. Now we get Rikishi and Kane against the Road Dogg and X-Pac, with Tori in their corner. Pretty much just standard filler here. Nothing too special really to talk about. Rikishi and Kane get the win after the match for the third time in a row. Third time's a charm. Pete Rose tries to outsmart Kane, but he doesn't get the job done. He gets a tombstone. I don't remember if he gets a tombstone or chokeslam, and then he gets a stink face from Rikishi. So there you go. Now we get to the main event of the evening. A fatal 4-way elimination match for the World Wrestling Federation Championship, with a McMahon in every single corner. Big Show had Shane McMahon in his corner. The Rock had Vince McMahon in his corner. Mick Foley had Linda McMahon in his corner, and Triple H had his wife, Stephanie McMahon, in his corner. A pretty loud pop for The Rock, a pretty good one for Mick Foley. It's amazing how nobody really talks about the greatness of this main event. It never stops. The action never stops, and the storytelling involved is absolutely, I think, is pretty awesome, to say the very least. At the time, this was very unpredictable going into it. You never knew who was going to win. Having Big Show get eliminated first was smart because you knew he wasn't going to win. Foley did a pretty good job for what he did, and then Triple H and The Rock are at their best here, and the crowd is going absolutely nuts for it. So then we get to the end. Triple H and The Rock are going at it. Vince McMahon turns on The Rock, and Triple H retains. And the crowd is crapping all over the finish and littering in the ring with garbage and drinks and stuff. And I have not seen a angrier crowd than that, I don't think, in the WWF at least. But Vince sends the crowd home happy, having The Rock give a rock bottom and then the people's elbow to Stephanie McMahon. And that is WrestleMania 2000. Bottom line, WrestleMania 2000, I think it's a little underrated when you look at it. It's not a classic. It could have been a lot better, but it does pass the time admirably, and wrestling fans will find quite a little bit of this to like. So give it a whirl when you give it a chance. Overall, out of 10, I'm going to rate WrestleMania 2000. Let's go. Let's go 5.5 out of 10. Best match of the night, hands down, is the triple threat triangle ladder match for the tag team championships between Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys, and the Dudley Boys, and the worst match easily is the cat fight. And yeah, that's WrestleMania 2000. Coming up next, WrestleMania X7 or 17, whatever the heck you want to call it.